Well, hello there. Got a plan for you. Plan A. Plan A. And the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die. Plan A. Let's go over Plan A. Plan A, the Lord God Jehovah, the Lord, the creator of all things, took the man, put him in the garden, and told him to dress it, keep it, protect it, take care of it. Do whatever was necessary to keep it the way he found it when the Lord put him in there. You do that. Now, the next part, of course, Plan A is the man has to eat. And this is of every tree of the garden you may freely eat. Now listen to the language. Of every tree of the garden. Every tree that you see that is a part of the garden, that is an intrinsic part of the garden. It is of the garden, it is from the garden, it is a part of the garden. You may freely eat. And then there's a caveat there. But the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. Now, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil was in the midst of the garden, but it wasn't of the garden, merely in the midst. That's like you walk into someone else's family reunion. Everybody in there is of the family. But guess what you're doing? You're standing in the midst of it. So you're in it, but you're not of it. What are we as children of God? We're in the world, but we're no longer of it. So the same thing applied in Plan A. Do not eat of the tree that is in the midst of the garden. For the day that you eat of it, you shall surely die. Plan A. Stay alive. Take care of my garden. Let's listen to Plan B. She did eat and gave to her husband, and he did eat. Plan B. Now, where in the instructions did God say, well, if your wife eats from it, you can eat it? There were no provisions for Adam to eat it. They said, well, his wife's not Adam, his wife is Eve. No, his wife was the woman. His wife was the woman because it wasn't until after they got out of the garden, they got put out of the garden, Adam turned around and told her, your name is Eve. So what is Plan C? Have I let the cat out of the bag? Plan C. Genesis 3:23-24. And this is just the A portion of 24. So he drove out the man. He didn't leave the woman. He drove out the man. So when he drove the man out, he drove them both out. You need to understand to flee Plan B. Whatever that is, whatever the Lord told you, you decide to do something else. He gave you Plan A. You executed Plan B. All he has left to do with you is Plan C. Very quickly. Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth and subdue it. Plan A. God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Sounds like Plan A and Plan B. Now, what do you think Plan C was? All right, Plan C. And it repented God that he had made man, And the Lord says, I will destroy man whom I have created. Plan C. In this little piece, we learn there is a plan A, there is a plan B, and there is a plan C. Flee plan B. Adhere to plan A, and you will avoid God's plan C. Flee plan B.